Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to get started with the before market close video in just a moment. It's Wednesday, February 23rd. Hope everyone's doing awesome out there today. Going to get started with the private POW Group member live stream momentarily. We'll give it another few seconds for people to join us. If anybody has any ticker requests, please put them in the private chat room inside the thread, and that way we can ensure that it's all in one easy to find place and all organized and whatnot. So if you want to any tickers covered, just drop them in the Slack thread, and we'll get to that here toward the end after a quick market update. Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to get started. It's Rod with POW Group. It is Wednesday, February 23rd. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth. In today's private member-only live stream, we're going to be discussing some crucial supports that are coming up for Bitcoin, the S&P 500, a lot of our individual names as well. We've seen tech continue its weakness today. So before we jump in, make sure to smash the like, subscribe to the channel, tick the bell to be notified on any future updates. I may make this private member live stream public after the fact because there is a lot of important things that I want to go over and what I'm potentially expecting into the days and weeks ahead. So the crypto space is pulling back along with the broader market. You can see here we're pretty red on the 15-minute time frame on most of our big large cap names in the crypto space. If we take a look at the Bitcoin chart here, we're still seeing weekly consolidation. So we're now 2 weeks in a row of weekly consolidation. We're just looking for a higher low compared to the low at 32,933. We also have the resistance trend line that was acting as support now. So we could even come back down and back test that previous resistance as new support. I could potentially see a double bottom here of 33K. I was calling for 35K ever since we lost 40K. If you remember, I was shouting from the rooftop in the private chat room saying that if we lost 40,000, we were likely going to 35. And we also had an hourly bear flag that had a target of 36,400. And if you look at the pullback here, we hit a low of 36,350. So that perfect measure move from the hourly bear flag was spot on. And like I said, we're just looking for this weekly higher low. We're still in a weekly downtrend, but bulls can attempt a weekly trend change here with the low high of the bounce at 45,855, the low at 32,933. And you can see here we even had these upper wicks signaling that we could see more downside. As soon as we lost the low here at 41,678, that confirmed a weekly consolidation was underway, and we were in a weekly downtrend knowing that we were likely going to see it at some point soon. From the bounce low to the high, we bounced about 40%, so not uncommon to see us start weekly consolidation. But even if you just exited when we began weekly consolidation, that would have saved you about almost 15% of downside. And then the EMAs acted as resistance. So now what we want to see pretty much in all of our major sectors, the difference between SPY right now, the S&P 500, it is not in a weekly downtrend yet. It's on the verge. I'll bring that up in a second, but Bitcoin's a bit weaker. It's already in a weekly downtrend. So this is pretty much what we want to see on all of our names. We want to form a higher low compared to the support there, and then we want to break to a higher high. So if we break 45,855 on Bitcoin, that means that we're going to be looking for a weekly uptrend that would confirm the weekly uptrend, and then we would look for the monthly bounce to get underway. And then what I could potentially see is a lower high and maybe a potential for a type of head and shoulders here on Bitcoin, and then we come down and we roll over at some point into the spring, sometime between April and May if I had to guess. But I think that we could potentially top out here sometime in March. And then we see all coins go absolutely crazy after Bitcoin starts to retrace. And then if Bitcoin loses monthly supports and confirms monthly downtrends in that head and shoulders that I'll be watching for, then that would signal the start of the bear market. And at that point, I'll be pretty much all out. I'm looking to, I don't hold any Bitcoin at the moment. I hold, my biggest holdings are XRP, XLM, Litecoin, and Link. And I'm going to be looking to unload a lot of that crypto. I own more crypto than any other asset at the moment, so any more than tech or NJ stocks. And like I said, once we get Bitcoin to see this monthly bounce get underway, that's what I'm going to be watching for, a weekly uptrend to confirm, and then we'll watch for the monthly bounce. Of course, that can all be invalidated if we break to a lower low, and the S&P 500 confirms a weekly downtrend, that's likely going to be short-term trouble. But like I said, wouldn't be completely surprised if we came back down here and back tested this support and this previous resistance trend line, and also intersecting there with the 33K support level. So I could see a bit more downside. We're not completely out of the woods yet. We also need to change the daily trend, and we're nowhere near changing the daily trend. We have the low, we're starting the daily bounce now. So what bulls want to see is a big of a bounce as possible, maybe top out around EMA 26, come down, form a higher low, followed by a higher high. That'll give us our daily uptrend. Then we zoom out to the weekly. The weekly bounce will be underway, and then we'll want to see the exact same thing with a higher low and higher high, confirm weekly uptrends. And then on the monthly time frame, we'll look for that lower high and a potential for a rollover there. A lot of people are thinking that we're in a bear market for the most part, but there's also a lot of people who are thinking, I'd say 50% of people are expecting us to go to new all-time highs. Personally, I'm not of that line of thinking. I think that Bitcoin is topping out here, and it's already starting a bear market. And like I said, I'm going to be anticipating a monthly lower high. On the S&P 500, this will be a lot quicker because it's basically the same thing, only we're not in a weekly downtrend. You can see Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, and just knowing when a weekly downtrend and a monthly downtrend occurs, or a monthly uptrend or a weekly uptrend, can help you drastically. If you're looking for a longer term entry, well, you don't want to be entering if we're confirming weekly downtrends on any name, really, right, by classical technical analysis theory. But if something is confirming a weekly uptrend, well, that could be a good time to get involved. And if something's confirming a monthly downtrend, you definitely most of the time don't want to be going long, right? You want to be going long when we're confirming monthly uptrends, or on the vice versa, you don't want to be shorting it when it's confirming monthly uptrends, right? So the difference is between Bitcoin is it confirmed a lower high and lower low, and now we're just anticipating a lower high here compared to resistance at 52,100. SPY hasn't confirmed the weekly downtrend yet. We lost the weekly uptrend, but we haven't confirmed the weekly uptrend yet. So, or downtrend yet, rather. So we're trying to confirm a weekly uptrend. So far, we already had the EMAs cross bearish. I mentioned this, so the downside could be a little bit limited here. If they were still not yet crossed, that means that we could see them cross, and that would insinuate more downside. But the fact that they've already crossed here by a pretty good margin, we can potentially see that downside is limited. And we do have key support there at 420.76. I mean, from the high of the bounce here, we're down almost 8%. So I think the most likely scenario that we're going to see play out is an equilibrium where we come down, we hold support, we bounce again on the weekly, we form a lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low, and then we either break bull or bear from there. That's what I could see happening. And right now, there's just not enough data to go off of. So right now, we're just watching key support at 420.76. Again, I'm not too worried if we dip below it, briefly. But what we need to see is a candle close this week. So by Friday, we need to see this weekly candle close above that 420 level, in my opinion, to be a save by the bulls. And if it does, then like I said, we could potentially see either an inside bar and tightening range into next week, and then just a slow week next week, and then we get the break, or we could see the weekly bounce start next week and start that weekly equilibrium. Personally, I don't think the geopolitical tensions right now are really going to amount to a whole lot, but that's just my personal opinion. There's a lot right now going on. There's interest rate hikes potentially in March for the Fed. The Canadian government's freezing bank accounts and enacting the Emergency Act. So there's a lot of things affecting the market right now. But like I said, we're going to we've got really bullish news. We've got, California looking to potentially make Bitcoin legal tender. We got Brazil and Mexico now pushing for that as well. So if we potentially see a Bitcoin ETF get approved as well, there's been a lot of pushback with Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, saying that if he approved a futures ETF for Bitcoin, that he should have the spot ETF. And we know that Grayscale Trust is looking to convert to an ETF. I really think that could happen. And if that did happen, I think that would absolutely soar our markets. I think that the S&P 500 would see a big push, and I think that Bitcoin would see a big push, and that could potentially be our blow off top. So watching for that, it's entirely possible. It doesn't happen until the next cycle. But I have a lot of things that I want to go over here today. I won't have time to get to everything, but this is a very crucial update, and I do believe I will make this video public because of how important the next couple of days are. And we're going to be watching the dollar as well. The dollar is trying to hold EMA 12. And if we take a look at the monthly time frame, we're clearly, let me just reset this here. We're clearly strong on the dollar. We're in a monthly uptrend with the low, high, higher, low. We don't really have any, we did have a brief higher low here, so I guess that's can be considered a bull flag actually. So if we take the measured move here, actually, yeah, it was a perfect bull flag. So at the moment, the dollar's looking to see further upside continuation. So this bullish continuation pattern, this bull flag, could bring us all the way up here to that resistance at 100 psychological, and then we have 102.99. So this is going to get interesting over the next couple of months, but if the dollar just kind of tightens up and we see a tightening range and multiple inside bars, that's going to be good for asset bulls. And then if we do lose support here, key support at 94.62, cat is sneezing in the background. If we lose support at 94.62, that's going to insinuate that we could see Bitcoin and stocks really take off, because we have no support on the dollar after that until 89.53. So we could easily pull back if we do lose that support. We could easily pull back about 5% on the dollar, looking for a monthly higher low. But at the moment, it's a monthly bull flag targeting that 100 level. So it's going to be interesting over the next couple months. Like I said, I do think that the S&P 500 and Bitcoin are looking to top out here soon, and that we could see a multi-year bear market coming down the pipe. Also, check out the video I did of the .com. Is it a .com repeat? I put a fractal from the .com run up over the top of this bull market for the last 12 years or so, and it's surprisingly similar, and it gives you an idea of what we can expect. But I could easily see a pullback to around 300 on SPY, no questions asked, when we enter a bear market. I've been pretty bearish on Tesla for a while, and we confirmed a weekly downtrends quite a while ago now. We confirmed a weekly downtrend back in December. And again, this is why it's so crucial to know what a weekly downtrend is, what a monthly downtrend is, what a weekly uptrend is, and what a monthly uptrend is, right? So if we take a look back here to when we started this massive run, you can see here we were in a weekly uptrend with these higher lows and higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. We did not confirm a weekly downtrend. We had no clear lower high and lower low. We almost did it here with the high, higher low, but then we confirmed the weekly uptrend again. So we avoided the weekly downtrend here, and then bulls stepped in right at this support trend line, and we had the low, high, higher low, higher high, broke to another weekly uptrend and held the monthly uptrend the entire time. That was another key aspect. We didn't lose the monthly. We almost confirmed a monthly downtrend here from the drop from 900 with the high, low, lower high, and lower low. Bull stepped in. That was a great entry to long with a stop below the low there at 539. If we lost for 539, we'd be in monthly downtrends. And if you're in a right mind, you would never want to be longing something on the verge of monthly downtrends. So that was a great bottom fish opportunity with a stop below. We avoided the monthly downtrend, and then we broke to a higher high. We're just looking for a monthly higher low compared to the low here at 539. We do have the EMAs that we're trying to act as support. We're losing it now. So if we can close the month over EMA 12 at 826 in 5 days, that's going to be extremely bullish. And then we can potentially see a monthly lower high up to around that 1100 area. If we close below that EMA here on the monthly, then it's entirely possible we're heading back down here to EMA 26, which is sitting at 639 rather. And then we have that support, like I mentioned, at 539. So we're still in a monthly uptrend, but we're in a monthly or a weekly downtrend. So the signal to get out on the weekly time frame would have been when we lost this weekly uptrend. So we had the low, high, lower high, and then lower low. We confirmed the weekly downtrend here in mid-December. And if you just exited on that, yeah, we bounced and we formed another lower high. But if you would have just stuck to your guns there and exited when we lost that, when we confirmed that weekly downtrend, that would have saved you, let's just take a quick peek, about 22% of downside. And then here you could have waited and then unloaded here and said, okay, I'll buy it back if we break 1243. You could have sold it here knowing that we were in a weekly downtrend, and then we basically double topped at our previous lower high, which confirmed the weekly downtrend. So again, it was a perfect top fish opportunity there if you wanted to go bearish. And from that top fish with your stop below the all-time high, not sure what happened there, but from that top fish, you would have made about 35% on a short opportunity. So I saw a lot of people going long here, which I was very concerned about. And like I said, now from that all-time highs, we're down about 40% on Tesla. And if we take a look at this weekly support trend line, it's fine here. If we dip below it, we need to close above it. So I want to see it close above we'll say 750. Actually, no, we'll say I'm not sure why that brought up the wrong number there. So I want to see a weekly close over that line, which is at around 8. Let's just extrapolate it here a little bit better. So we want to close even over 800. So if we can close this weekly candle over 800, that is going to be huge. And then we could potentially see a weekly bounce or an inside bar next week. But SPY is obviously getting hurt extremely right now by Tesla. We're down 6.5%, and Tesla is a huge weighting in the S&P 500 now. So we're going to wrap things up. And like I said, the stream's getting a little long, and I want to make this one public and had a lot to go over today. Taking a look at the cannabis space, so we're just seeing weekly consolidation across the sector, and CGC, key support coming up at 664. We're just looking for a higher low, but again, favoring a type of equilibrium where we may see a tightening range. It's really going to dictate, SPY is really going to dictate the move from here. But again, weekly consolidation is pretty much the same. It'll be easy today because any name, really any individual name, is basically just looking for weekly higher lows and breaking of the weekly downtrends. And that's what SPY is looking for. That's what Bitcoin's looking for. Hexo also, everything's fine. I called out that I anticipated a drop to about 50 cents. Here we are at about 53 USD, just looking for a higher low compared to 46 cents. So if we can hold that 46 support and then break resistance at 72, that's going to confirm a weekly uptrend. And like I just mentioned, when we're confirming weekly uptrends after 2 brutal bear markets in less than 3 years, that is when you want to start taking long opportunities, and not a bad opportunity right now entering in some of these names, looking for those weekly higher lows and setting your stop below the lows. If you get stopped out, you just look to try it again on the next weekly trend change attempt, right? So Hexo, for example, set a stop below 46, set your stop at 45 or 44. If you want to allow a little bit more risk and wiggle room, you can set it under 40. And like I said, if we drop from here, you're risking essentially from current levels, you're risking about 15%, 10 to 15% to try to nail the bottom and the end of a bear market and the beginning of a bull market. That is some great risk to reward opportunity in my opinion. But like I said, you can set a stop loss to limit your risk. Moving on to the US sector, so MSOS, same thing. We're just looking for this weekly higher low. So again, just very correlated. We're in a weekly downtrend, very correlated to the broader market. SPY is looking for a weekly higher low. So is MSOS and US, most of MJ, the whole sector really. And then if we take a look here, it could be an inverted head and shoulders that's forming. So if we hold the low here around 2137 on MSOS, it's a possibility of a weekly inverted head and shoulders. We usually see this type of pattern at the end of a bear pattern. So if we're in a downtrend, you can see these at the end of a downtrend, and then on the vice versa, if we're in an uptrend, you usually see a head and shoulders. So this is usually found at the bottom of downtrends. And then, like I said, if we take the measured move, if this does confirm, we need to really break resistance at 26.50. If we break 26.50, it's confirmed, and then the measured move takes us up to about $32. So great long opportunity again. That's about, from current levels, you're looking at about 50% of upside. You can set your stop below low, the all-time low there at 19.55. Taking a look at the mushroom space. So low, high, higher low, just looking for that higher low. Again, it's very, very similar to a lot of our other names that we've already covered. So probably going to end it there. Again, getting a little long, about 20 minutes on this video. I'll take a look and see if we have any ticker requests at the moment, and it doesn't look like we do. I see we have quite a few people on with us though, so hopefully that was able to really, drive things home at the moment. I know there hasn't been a whole lot of requests right now for tickers because they're all the same. We're just looking for, technical analysis can be great, but not a whole lot can change when we're seeing these tightening ranges. And realistically, if you're wondering what way MJ is going to break or what way any of these names are going to break Bitcoin and SPY, the more names that change weekly uptrends and change their weekly trends, so the more names that confirm higher lows and higher highs here and confirm weekly uptrends, the more confident we're going to be in the market not completely collapsing right now. But SPY is very close to that support. We've got about 15 minutes left. I'd love to stay on and close it out, but you know what to be looking for. If we do lose 420, we'll take a look at their next support here. We don't have any real clear support on the weekly until about 404, so I would expect a drop down to that level or even a back test of 400. again, it's not the end of the world here if we lose 420. If we go to 415, I wouldn't want to see us lose 415, but we could go, in my opinion, we could go as low as 415, and then as long as we close that weekly candle this week over 420, that will be a save by the bulls, and it could just really be a bear trap at the moment and a bit of a fake out. So we're still holding. We had those weekly EMAs cross bearish already, so a little bit curious about how much more downside we're going to see from here at this crucial weekly support, and we'll see how things play out here. We've got, like I said, about 15 minutes left in the market. Best of luck into the end of the day today. If you could smash the like, subscribe to the channel on your way out, I would appreciate the support. And take care. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Powell Group, and we'll see you in the next video.